All right. Hello. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Whoa, look at all these coins. A whole suitcase full of coins. Oh my God, I'm excited. And this is totally unscripted. You just wore that microphone on your own, right?
It was just here.
It was just there. That's just how you woke up.
Perfect.
Excellent. Welcome. So let's
Thank you
let's
very
take a
much.
look at the coins. Whatnot is the sponsor of today's video. Thank you for your support. Use my link whatnot.com/invite/silverpicker to download the app and get $15 in Whatnot credit absolutely free. Hello everybody, Silverpicker here, and as you can see, today I am not alone. I have a very, very exciting guest today, and he's brought some coins for us to look at. I'll let him introduce himself.
So hi everyone, I'm Daniel Kersner. Here basically to show off some of the coins that have been collected over the years. Some of them go way back.
Yeah, and basically we were connected through one of his close friends who's a good friend of mine, and I'm very good friends with their whole family actually. And we were actually connected, not related to coins, but originally related to his Pokemon card collection.
Yeah.
And while he gets out the coins, he has a crazy story to tell about the Pokemon stuff. So we'll do that, and then we'll get into the coins, we'll show them off, I'll evaluate them, let him know what he has, and then if we're lucky, we'll be able to purchase them.
Yeah, so great. So I'll put out some of what we got over here, but talking about the Pokemon collection, that was pretty crazy, I must say. Had a collection of about 270 rare cards. A lot of them were in mint condition.
From your childhood?
From my childhood, been collecting since I'm like 6 years old. So it's a collection that I used to keep every card, or every pack I used to open, used to put it straight into sleeves. I had everything well packed. And then I was thinking recently if that's something I'd want to sell, you know, because I know that there's a whole hype around the Pokemon cards. And only found out that I had a pretty crazy collection.
That is wild. And do you want to share with the crowd what you ended up selling it for?
Yeah, for sure. I ended up selling it for $13K, which was an awesome
$13,000 for 250-ish cards that you collected as a child.
True.
Very, wow, unbelievable.
A bit about what we're looking at the moment.
Yeah.
My great-grandfather, he used to deal with pearls back in the day.
Interesting.
So he basically traveled all over the world. And that's on the side of my great-grandfather, but then my grandfather, meaning my mother's father, he was an ambassador of the Philippines.
Wow.
And he basically has been traveling all over the world together with my mother and their whole family. So we have a great collection of coins and paper notes from pretty much all over the world.
Wild. So by the way, I didn't know any of this before he came over. All I know is that we've been talking for, on and off for a couple of months about how he has this coin collection, and eventually he wants to get an idea of what it's worth and what he actually has. But all this interesting stuff. So, okay, so your grandfather was an ambassador, a U.S. ambassador to the Philippines?
He was a Filipino ambassador. He was originally from the Philippines.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Filipino ambassador to where?
He started out here in Tel Aviv.
Okay.
That's where he met my grandmother.
Wow.
They ran off to Cyprus, got married, and from there on they moved all over the world.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And we're going to see effectively his collection that he got throughout his travels and all of that. And then you also have a giant briefcase full of coins. This is just ridiculous.
Briefcase, which is very heavy.
Do you see this? Oh my God. I went to the gym today. I did some rock climbing, but I think this is all I needed to do.
Double-sided.
Holy cow. Double-sided. Yeah. Oh my God. This thing must weigh at least 30 pounds?
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
15 kilos, something like that.
Yep.
This is ridiculous. Okay, we're going to get to this after.
Okay.
But, we can start with whatever you want.
Of course. So,
you want to lay out what you have, and then we can
put out what I got.
Yeah.
There's this collection as well that my father collected as a child when he used to visit in Israel, which is actually old Roman coins.
Very cool.
That were sold back in Caesarea.
Oh, wow. So these are basically souvenir coins, but authentic Roman coins that were sold as souvenirs in, I guess, the 60s, 70s?
Yeah, and they're dated.
Okay. Yep. And very cool. Look at this.
Description.
The Certificate of Antiquity from Israel. Super, super cool.
Yeah, so we got a few of those.
One of my Patreon patrons is an expert in ancient coins, especially ancient Roman coins. That's a good time to shout out my Patreon, anybody that's interested in supporting the channel and getting access to our incredible private Discord server where you can learn about all sorts of coin stuff and just have a good time. The links are below, patreon.com/silverpicker. Thank you for laying me up for that.
Sure thing.
Very, very cool. Okay, so you've got some banknotes from around the world.
Yep.
You have Israeli or Roman coins from Judea. Are these Judean Roman coins?
Yeah,
Or
this is
we'll
all
find that
that's
out.
been dug up around
Okay.
that area.
And then
yeah.
you've got more banknotes.
Yep, we got banknotes.
Yeah, let's spread everything out. What else do you
Spread
have? And then
everything out.
we'll go into the detail.
We have tried to put a few special coins up together here.
Okay.
Which are kind of some are souvenir coins.
Interesting. Okay. So we've got, this is a Churchill crown.
Yeah, feel free to take it.
Just poking around. We've got different coins from various eras, various countries. Some are silver, I already see. This guy's silver. This is from, I think, Austria.
Yeah, that would be a shilling from
Yep.
Austria.
So that's an Austrian coin. That's silver right there. So we've already got one hit.
Right. And talking about silver, I think we got a bunch of American coins, silver coins. We have also those who were manufactured and have some faults in them, so
Okay, some error coins.
error coins. And then we got a bunch of coins that are basically from here, special edition coins.
Okay, see, we got a Mercury dime over here. Let's see what we've got in terms of the year. 1944, common date, but still, silver is silver. So just, I always try and explain this to a lot of people, by the way, about their coin collections. Essentially, there are a few different factors that can go into whether something is valuable or not. Generally with coins, the number one thing that affects super high values is condition, but along with condition is rarity, and rarity is usually judged with coins by the date and mint mark. So the date is the year that's on it, and the mint mark is usually a letter that signifies which specific mint or coin factory, effectively, the coin was produced at. So like in the United States, there are 3 or 4 active mints, and then there are other ones that have historically been there. So you could have a Morgan silver dollar of a particular year from the Philadelphia mint, and that coin might only be worth $50 because there were, you know, hundreds of thousands or millions produced from that mint. But that same year produced at the Carson City Mint, which no longer exists because there were many fewer produced there, those could be worth in the thousands. So year and mint mark, meaning rarity, then there's condition, and then there's also the actual intrinsic value of the metal. So a coin that is silver will never be worth less than its silver value. So even if it's not collectible, not a year, a rare year or mint mark or anything like that, and it could be in terrible condition, it will never go below its silver value. So in most collections, what I'm looking for is, the first thing I'm looking for is, do you have silver or gold coins? Because there's value right there.
Right.
Then I start to look at, of the coins that could have value based on their collectability, then I'll start looking at dates. And then once we've established whether there's silver coins that are valuable or rare dates that are valuable, then we see, okay, how's the condition? And the condition, by the way, is generally what we look at when we decide whether or not we're going to grade a coin or whether we're going to sell it raw, meaning as is.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So, if talking of condition, then there's this rare banknote over here, which is in
Oh, wow.
best condition.
Excellent. Yes.
That goes back to 1914.
Yes. So we have here a $20 bill. This is a large size, so we call these horse blanket notes because they're gigantic, like a horse blanket. And yeah, so this is from the 1914 series. It has Grover Cleveland on it, and it is a Federal Reserve note. And I believe, even though it has the blue seal, which generally is just for silver certificates, I think this is not a silver certificate. I think this is a standard Federal Reserve note. But it's very cool. I mean, back in the day, this is what they used for $20 bills. And in 1914, $20 was probably about, I mean, I'm not 100% sure. We can look it up. On screen, you'll see what $20 back then is worth today, but it's probably about $400 or $500.
Right. Right. Cool.
Very, very cool. Yeah, so this has value. Some of these I'll put value on the screen, let you guys know. Other ones we'll just discuss it. We'll wing it a little bit. But I think this is like a $100 or $150 value.
How about that dot we got over there? That was, not sure what that is.
So that dot over here next to his head, so that we're looking at the Denver mint mark. So when I said about each coin has a mint mark, so that's not a dot, it's actually a D. It's just been worn down over time. So this was manufactured at the Denver Mint as opposed to the San Francisco or Philadelphia Mint. And by the way, for a lot of people watching, like they watch these videos because they're also new to coin collecting or they're also getting into the business of buying and selling coins.
Right.
And it's a good idea, A, to understand what we're looking at, but also how to explain to somebody that is, you know, having their collection appraised. There's a lot of like bad actors in this industry essentially where you'll bring coins into, let's say, a pawn shop or you know, most coin stores are pretty good, but some of them you'll bring it in and it'll be a black box. They'll look at it for 5 seconds and they go, yeah, this is worth like $200. I'll give you $100 for it. And that's it. And then either they're getting ripped off, or even if they're not, they feel like they're getting ripped off.
Right.
With this, the idea is explain everything, give the other person all the tools they need to make a decision about whether to sell, and then you can tell them, I pay 70 to 80% of the value depending on you know, the market value of the coins, depending on what they are. Typically, I'll pay between 70 and 75% for silver coins and non-silver coins, and then gold coins I pay 80% or more of the market value. But this way, they understand what the value is, they understand what they have, and then you can make a decision, right? Then you have all the information that you would ever need, as opposed to just going in and handing it to them and they say, yeah, I'll give you $500 or $200 or $50 or $10,000.
Yeah.
You'll never know what you actually have.
Right. So they had the stage where they had these coins, also
Yep.
larger numbers, but this is.
So these are classic collectors. We've got these from every country in the world that issued these. And these are usually, you know, nothing too special. These usually go for about, you know, $5, or just making sure that there's no silver in here, which there is not. So these usually go for about $3 to $5 for the set.
Right. Okay.
And then we've
This
got.
was the twisted coin I was talking about.
All right, let's
Year
take a look.
2000 though. So I'm not too sure
Wow,
about there, but-
this is incredible. So this is a true error. This could be worth something. So what we have here is a true rotation error, a die rotation error. These are not these are fairly common when we're talking about like a couple degrees of rotation, but this is a serious rotation error where you see it's, you know, face up right here, and then you've got like a 90-degree angle of the eagle. So we'll have to do some digging on to see what the actual value is. I'll put it in the video here and edit that in, but that is definitely a winner.
Cool.
And depending, you know, I'm not talking about hundreds or thousands of dollars, but it's definitely a valuable error right there.
Okay.
All right, so we can
So let's
shift.
try. And
Why don't I
these off
just
of here.
quickly filter through a couple of these. This is pretty cool. Isle of Man, currency from the Isle of Man. Sometimes there's just currency that I don't, you know, see all that often. These Canadian banknotes generally are not worth much more than face value, but they are indeed worth face value. Yeah, so most of the value of these banknotes that we see here are going to be whatever the face value is.
check that. That's £1.
Yeah.
apparently.
And these, while they're not still in circulation, this is still worth £1. So if you go to England, you can hand it to somebody and they'll look at you like you're a psychopath, but you'll be able to spend it.
Interesting. Okay, so there's also a mixture here. I see this is Belgium, I think.
So we got Belgian francs. We've got some, that's Thailand, I think. I think that's Thailand. Singapore, Burma, which is Myanmar now.
Yeah. So a lot of the pearls that my great-grandfather used to sell, they originated from Burma. So that's
very cool.
I have a bunch from there, but some of these look brand new.
Some really interesting. So some of this stuff is probably money that he just took out from the bank when he was traveling there and
Exactly.
didn't spend it. I mean, these are uncirculated completely, and these are from Burma. I don't know what the currency is there. It's 10 kyats. I'm not familiar with that,
Interesting.
but we've got a whole bunch of those. And, you know, off camera, I'll look up, you know, all this stuff more in detail so we don't miss anything. Obviously, if you guys are watching and you notice something that's super valuable that I missed, let us know.
Important.
Yeah, so we can move
Let's
all
make
this
some-
stuff over. Let's put this over here. This is so far our best hit, along with this rotation error.
So the dimes from the 40s are still spendable.
No,
these
so
days.
dimes from the 40s are silver, and they're worth about $1.50 to $2 a piece.
Interesting.
And this is, most of my viewers will already know this, if not all of them, but any coin other than nickel or penny from the US, so all the denominations, dime, half dollar, quarter, dollar, et cetera, and up, from 1964 and earlier, they're all silver. They're 90% silver, which means that they're going to be worth at least their value, which is, depending on the day, obviously.
Is this including 64?
So this is a nickel. So nickels are
right.
from 1964. Well, you may enjoy collecting them. They're not really worth more than 5 cents.
Right. Okay.
Take
They're kind
a
of split
look.
up. I don't know how we want to pull these out. We got some from China, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we're going to start with the good stuff. We're going to start with the U.S.
Let's do it.
Because those are some of the most popular coins. Just dump them out, and we can start going through them. And what I'll do is I'll start, looking through them. And what you can do is you can start dividing them up by denomination. So put the quarters with quarters, etc. And we'll sort of, All right, so we've gone through all of the coins. There was a tremendous amount in this giant, 30-pound briefcase full of coins, and the other little cigar box. And we've come up with a couple of nice little gems. So just again, going over it, most of the stuff, as is true with almost every collection that I look at that was collected in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s from grandparents' trips around the world, generally most of those coins are not worth anything because they're not worth anything from a collectible perspective because there were billions of them produced, and they're not worth face value because they've been replaced by the euro and demonetized in most cases. So most of these are not actually worth anything. You can give them to nieces and nephews, cousins, kids that you think would find interesting, because there's definitely historical and collector's value, but not monetary value. And I know you're looking for the monetary value. Some coins, however, do still retain their face value. So for example, all of these Swiss coins, so these Swiss 2 franc coins and these 5 franc coins, those are still used today, and it's about 1 to $1. So you've probably got about $50 worth of just spendable Swiss currency. So maybe that'll be your next vacation. And over here, this is where we've got the good stuff. And we won't go through the prices exactly yet. You'll be able to see, if you want to look them up on eBay. You'll know what they are. Afterwards, I can send you more detailed information about the values. But first of all, we have this $20 bill, which I think is definitely the coolest bill in your collection. And it is in pretty bad condition. In this condition, it probably would go for about $60 to $75. Which is still not bad. It's a 3 to 4x return on your investment effectively, right? It was a $20 bill back then. And then over here, this whole section is mostly silvers. So we've got some silvers over here from the UK. These are 6p coins from the 1940s. We've got a couple of shilling coins, right? Or sorry, florins. These are florins from the early 20s, also silver. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 silver quarters from the United States. And these are worth about $5 each in silver value alone. We've got 2, 4, 6, 7 silver Roosevelt dimes and 1 silver Mercury dime. Those are worth about $1.50 to $2 each. We've got a war nickel worth about $1.50. We have a handful of Japanese silver coins, which is really cool. I don't come across these very often. These are 100 yen coins, and I think these are from the 1940s. So we've got 2 different versions of those that are both varying purities of silver. We've got a Austrian 10 shilling coin that's silver. This is a nice little chunky coin. It's also got some nice toning on it. It's a 5 franc coin from 1963. Still good, from 1963 from France. We have 4 different half franc coins from Switzerland from the early 1960s that are all silver. And we've got a couple of golden coins from the Netherlands from the 1950s, the early 1950s, that are also silver. Those 3. And then, of course, we have this silver 1939 50 mils coin. That one, let's do a little eBay sold listing check. So this one, right over here, is worth at least $25, but it's in pretty good condition, so theoretically it could go up to like 30 or 35. These are worth a couple bucks each. Even though these are not silver, the British Mandate of Palestine coins are highly collectible. I collect them myself. I'm trying to get one of every single coin from the set. I'm making my way there. Anybody who's interested in seeing that can check out the video in the card or in the description. I'll link it. And then this coin that you asked about earlier, these 2-pound coins, this is a commemorative, but it's worth only about $4 or $5. This is the standard issue one. I think sometimes we hear stories from grandparents, and there's a little bit of a broken telephone where the story in his family was that this was a never released coin to the public, but actually it was just a commemorative coin that was indeed released to the public. And it was probably, the story was that this is a commemorative coin not intended for general circulation, but was still minted in high numbers for collectors.
Right.
And then the last but not least is this coin that we looked at earlier, which is the rotated die error. And I did a little bit of digging, and if you were to sell this coin raw as is, it would probably fetch about 50 bucks. And if you were to get it graded and it got any kind of reasonable grade, of course it would still be certified as an error, and this would go for about $150. So you have a nice little collection here. You're not going to retire on it. It's certainly not the home run that your Pokemon card collection was. Yep. But it is still a nice little collection. Everything you have here has value, and you'd be able to sell it for, basically the silver weight of these and some numismatic value as well.
Right.
The Roman coins, those are very, very varied in value. I would have to look at those a little bit more carefully and probably reach out to some of my expert friends. Right. But based on my knowledge of sort of these type of souvenir coins, even though they're authentic, they're probably in the range of like $10 to $20 a piece at best. Right. But in any case, I mean, it's still pretty awesome. It's a hugely interesting piece of history, and this one in particular is from 336 AD, so it's almost 2,000 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it's pretty cool.
It's crazy to think that Pokemon cards that are 30 years old go for more than coins that are 2,000 years old.
It's wild, yeah. I mean, hey, it's supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
It's what people are looking for.
Totally. Okay.
So do you have any last thoughts, any last questions before we sign off?
Oh, well, I think it's pretty cool that we managed to pull out a few special coins out of this heavy collection over here. I think it'd be great. I'll also let my family know that this is what we've found through the collection. Thank you very much for going through and having me over.
My pleasure. Yeah, for me, it's always fun to dig through a pile of coins, and especially when I'm able to educate and share my knowledge. Whether or not you decide to sell these in the end or keep them with your family, either way is great, but knowledge is power, and now you know exactly what is valuable, exactly what's not valuable, and you can go from there.
Perfect. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show. Glad you guys enjoyed. I hope this was interesting for you guys. I make videos about coin collecting, precious metals investing, personal finance every single week, and I hope you enjoyed and come back. So hit that subscribe button, hit the little like button underneath it. Helps me out. Come on, I'm a YouTuber, I gotta ask. But I make videos like this every single week, and I got a lot more awesome stuff coming down the pike. So stay tuned, and until then, Silver Picker out. A huge thank you to all of my wonderful patrons. If you're not yet a patron, join the Patreon, the links are below, and you'll get access to my private Discord group in which all sorts of collectors come together to talk shop, talk coins, and just have a good time.